Hi, checking in for a hotel reservation? I'd like to request a suite upgrade, please. Why of course, Mr. John. I have you for 2 nights. We would be glad to upgrade you to the junior suite. Oh, hi there. I'm checking in as well, and I'd also like a suite upgrade, just like that gentleman there. No, but you just gave it to the other guy. Well, that's because he has status. Status? Oh, what? Just because Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're like me, that scenario's probably played out at some point in your life. Someone checks in, they get a suite upgrade, you check in, you get a free toothbrush. You're probably wondering how the heck someone gets upgrades. Well, the easiest way is that they have status with the hotel. And I don't mean pinky in the air type of status, but more so that they're a frequent guest of a particular loyalty program of the hotel and they've met a requirement and now they get status. Now, traditionally to get that, you spend many nights in a hotel, you travel for work, and you get that as a payoff. However, I am so stoked to be sharing with you that you might not need to actually stay a single night to get status anymore. In fact, all you really need is 1 credit card, and it's pretty wild that they're doing this. So American Express has revamped the Bonvoy Brilliant. Now, I've had this card for forever. This is actually the old design. The new design looks a little bit different, but the Bonvoy Brilliant is their top tier card. And all you need to know is by having the card, you will automatically get enough status that can qualify you for suites, which is pretty wild to have on a credit card. So in today's video, I'm gonna be breaking down for you the American Express Bonvoy Brilliant, giving you an official JFT score, my recommendations on how exactly to maximize and extract value from it, and give you a lay of the land of the hotel program so that next time you go ahead and stay at a Marriott, you might be getting yourself a suite upgrade. Cool? Well, the only thing I ask for you is if you wouldn't mind, please, just tap the little thumb icon down there to spread the good word, and we're gonna go ahead and dive right in. And guys, if you're interested in the card or any cards, feel free to check out my referral and links down below. To kick things off, the American Express Bonvoy Brilliant is giving an all-time high sign-up bonus of 150,000 Marriott points after spending $5,000 in the first 3 months. Those 150,000 points could be redeemed for many free nights if you're looking at someplace domestic, or if you're looking for a reach type of luxury redemption, you can actually get to the Maldives. At 70,000 points per night, you could be staying at the Westin that was recently launched in the Maldives, or a bit of a stretch, you'll need a little bit more in terms of points, but for about 84,000 or so points per night, you can actually stay at the St. Regis in the Maldives. Now, that's actually a hotel that I've stayed at in one of those overwater bungalows. It was a phenomenal experience, though truthfully, I don't know. If I'm an actual traveler, I don't think I would do it again because it is very much confined to the resort. However, it is a dream redemption for a lot of people, and this card could certainly get you close enough to at least cover almost 2 nights. And so in just looking at the sign-up bonus in a vacuum, because this is the highest ever and not accounting for the fact that Marriott is continually devaluing their program, this I would at least say is a 5 out of 5 JFTs. Next up, we have earnings. So this card is gonna earn you 6 Marriott points per dollar spent at participating Marriott properties, 3 points per dollar spent on dining, 3 points per dollar spent when you book flights directly using this card, and 2 Marriott points per dollar spent everywhere else. Now, on its surface, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of points. But if I really think about it, and because I don't really value Marriott points that highly, it's pretty meh. Like the 3x for dining and the 3x for direct airline bookings, because they're earning Marriott points, are actually not that valuable. You can actually get 5 membership reward points if you book flights directly with the card. For example, the American Express Platinum, and the membership reward points, a ton more flexibility. And the 3x on dining, I mean, that's kind of now an industry standard, especially for a card in this category. So really, you're coming out ahead with the 6 points per hour spent at Marriott properties. But again, because I don't value it that much, it's pretty So taking a look at everything here, I would say this is probably only gonna come in at a 3 out of 5 JFTs. Next up, we have benefits. Now, this is where the meat and potatoes are, and this is where I think the card really shines out above anything else in the marketplace today. The first benefit, and the one that is, to me, the most attractive, is the fact that by having the Bonvoy Brilliant, you automatically get Platinum Elite status. So Marriott has about, I think it's 5 different status tiers. You've got Silver, Gold, Platinum, Titanium, and Ambassador. All you need to understand though is starting at the Platinum level, you can be eligible for suite upgrades. And typically, in order to get Platinum, you would have had to actually stay 50 nights at a Marriott, which is a lot. And assuming that, let's say, every night was $100 on average, you would have to have spent at least $5,000 with Marriott to get Platinum status to qualify. But with this card, you just kind of get the card and you qualify, which is awesome. So some of the other things that I really like with Platinum status is the fact that you also get 4 p.m. checkouts, of course, where it's available, and you get lounge access. Now, many people don't know this, but some hotels actually have lounges, and in these lounges, there's often free food and free booze. One of my favorites is Sheraton's, even though they migrate over from SPG and not traditional Marriott, whatever, you still get lounge access at these hotels, which I think is pretty incredible. And another benefit you'll see having Platinum status is you get 50% more Marriott points per your stay. So if you're looking to acquire Marriott points, this is again gonna help you accelerate that. The one thing to note though about status with Marriott in general is that if you're somewhere in the United States, Platinum isn't gonna get you that far because there's gonna be business travelers that have titanium and honestly probably an ambassador level where you're staying over 100 nights and spending $20,000 with Marriott. However, where I have seen status just become so appreciated is actually in Southeast Asia, and I've heard in parts of Europe as well. I mean, I was staying out in Bali, I remember. It was at a Sheraton in Bali. I had silver status, I believe, or maybe gold status with Marriott, which is pretty low, and somebody found me at breakfast, at the free breakfast that I was enjoying, and thanked me for my membership, which I thought was just absolutely wild. I mean, here I am pretty much at the bottom of the ladder. Like a gold status in America means nothing. And yet over there, they're like, you know, thank you, Mr. Liang, for your continued loyalty with the program. And I was like, oh my gosh. So for those who travel a lot, and especially if you get out to Southeast Asia, if you're getting out to Europe, probably even South America, this status is absolutely worth it. For you in the United States, I think Platinum would help if you were staying somewhere not too popular, but if you're staying in New York City, if you're staying probably in an LA, San Francisco, somewhere where there's business travelers and heavy traffic, Platinum probably isn't gonna get you that far, though I will say the takeaway would probably be the 4 p.m. checkout, which is nice, as well as the lounge access. I think those things are really solid. The suite upgrades, yes, you are eligible, but I'll just be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure you're gonna clear into it if there's people with higher status, which just tends to happen in America. Moving on from there, we have a $300 dining credit you can use once per year, which comes to about $25 per month. Now, if I really think about it, it's an okay benefit. Like, I actually preferred the $300 Marriott credit that the old Bonvoy Brilliant had, but they got rid of that to try to get people to spend on the card, which I get it, it's a business. So 25 bucks a month though is actually pretty solid. So if you're doing any sort of food delivery, this is probably pretty easy for you to go ahead and use. But if you're not, then you probably have to wonder, well, you know, am I looking at this card, or maybe a card better suited for you might be something like an American Express Gold. Now, every single year that you hold a card, you're actually eligible for one free night award worth up to 85,000 points per night. For some places, that actually could stretch pretty far. Remember earlier we mentioned the West and the Maldives, that's about 70,000 points per night. You could actually use your free night there. So use your free night, and then you have the sign-up bonus. You could probably get 3 nights in the Maldives just for this card, which again, is pretty phenomenal. Next, by holding the Bonvoy Brilliant, you automatically get 25 Elite Night credits. So what that basically means is, if you remember earlier, if you stay a certain number of nights at Marriott, you start qualifying for their status, right? 50 nights gets you Platinum, 75 gets Titanium, 100 plus 20K in spend gets you Ambassador. So you're probably wondering, well, if you already have Platinum, who cares? Here's where it gets really interesting with the Marriott program, and let me explain to you something. Marriott and United Airlines, they're partners. So what that means is you can actually match your status at a certain level to a United status, and that starts at the Titanium level. So Titanium requires 75 nights. So getting this card automatically qualifies you and you get 25 nights credited to you. Then if you stack this with, say, the business flavor of a Marriott Bonvoy card, that gives you another 15 nights. So automatically, by having 2 cards, you automatically have 40 Elite Night credits that's gonna credit towards you earning the Titanium status. Titanium takes about 75. So as you can see, by having both those cards, you get 40 Elite Night credits, Titanium takes 75. You just need 35 more nights to qualify for a Titanium. The reason Titanium is exciting is because if you have Marriott Titanium, you can actually match that to United Airlines Silver status. So you have one status here, you just get it matched for free here. Now, this isn't high, United Silver isn't high, but it does give you the option and better opportunities for getting upgrades. And honestly, I've actually been a United Silver Silver member now for, I don't even know, 3 or 4 years just because I have status with Marriott. I don't fly enough with United to get it, but Silver status gives me A, priority boarding, basically means I actually get to board the plane and put my carry-on over my head as opposed to groups in, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 that have to actually gate check it. In addition to that, I've actually cleared for some upgrades into Economy Plus just by having United Silver. So that's one thing to keep in mind as to why this card is so cool when it gives you 25 Elite Night credits that you can stack with the business cards. You have 40 Elite Night credits. That makes it that much easier to qualify for Titanium. Once you have Titanium, you can do a match from Titanium to United Silver. United Silver gives you better upgrades than just someone with no status. And as a quick pro tip and a quick aside, you don't actually need a business to get a business credit card. What I mean by that is you don't need a corporation or an LLC. If you're a sole prop, if you have some sort of side hustle in which you are earning income, right? Even if you're, let's say, doing something in the gig economy, or you're flipping items and selling them on Craigslist or eBay, whatever it is, you're technically a business, you can apply for a business credit card, okay? So you don't need a formalized structure in place. That's just a pro tip. All right, next up, we're on to some of the protections that come with American Express, specifically this card. So this card comes with trip delay insurance. Pretty cool. So if you book a round trip airfare, or I guess any type of trip with this card, you're gonna get coverage for any delays starting at 6 hours. The maximum benefit is up to $500 and you can make 2 claims in, I think, consecutive 12 months. The other thing they have is baggage insurance. Now, when you have a baggage item that is either stolen, that's damaged, or that is lost, and you booked the entire round trip fare with this card, and it's a common carrier, so think plane, train, ferry, whatever it may be, it actually gets covered. And the key distinction here is lost items, common carrier, because oftentimes in, say, a insurance plan that comes from a credit card, they actually say if it's with a common carrier, basically meaning plane, train, or ferry, they actually won't cover it. I don't know why, but they typically won't cover it. So with this coverage, I think that's pretty phenomenal. The coverage extends for $2,000 for a checked baggage and $3,000 total for checked as well as carry-on in terms of per baggage. So I guess if you have multiple bags, that's the coverage, which again, that's pretty solid. Some of the other go-tos, and I think that are pretty straightforward, are you're gonna get a credit to be able to purchase global entry. So global entry, expedited entry back in the United States. Pro tip for you folks out there, do your global entry interviews on arrival. I did a renewal interview on arrival and it literally took half an hour as opposed to waiting 3, 4, 5, or 6 months to get an interview slot because guess what? They're just backed up. So pro tip, if you get global entry, do interview on arrival at one of the arrival airports that they have it at. For most major airports, they tend to have it. In addition, global entry gives you TSA pre-check. TSA pre-check is basically, think of it as VIP access in terms of security. Zip on through, don't have to take off your shoes, don't have to take off your belt. It is honestly such a lifesaver. This card will also give you priority pass. So with priority pass, that's basically the lounge access. So similar to how people get hotel upgrades and you wonder, wow, how did you do that as a kid? Well, that was the exact same thing for me when it comes to lounges. Like, wow, how do people get into those? Like, do they have to be special? Some of them, yes, you have to be special. You have to fly a lot with an airline, but the others now, with a credit card that gives you priority pass, you're gonna get into all of the different lounges, or at least a ton of the different lounges all over the world. Again, they're honestly best in Asia, honestly, even in Europe, America, priority pass lounges are pretty meh. This card also gives you a $100 credit if you book your stay at a Ritz-Carlton or a St. Regis directly for a minimum of 2 nights. I don't really count this as a benefit. I mean, I don't know. A Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis booked directly for 2 nights is probably $400, $500, $600 a night. Like this $100 credit, it's a nice to have, but if you're spending there, like, meh, kind of a wash. So those are just some of the benefits I wanted to call out. Now, in terms of my overall rating for this though, I would say this is like a 4.5 out of 5 JFTs. The reason it's not getting the full 5, I think, is that it's not as broadly applicable as I would have liked it to be. There are some ways it could have been better. For example, the $300 dining credit could have just been a $300 hotel credit, much easier to use, but it gets high up there because you get this card, you get platinum status, you're eligible for suite upgrades. Even though it's hard in America, you're still eligible, and in Asia and Europe, you're probably gonna clear more likely than not. Next up, we have the annual fee. It comes in at a whopping $650. Yikes. Now, it does come with a dining credit to offset it by about $300, so it comes in at $350 per year. And a lot of you are probably wondering, is it worth it? Well, I guess you have to think about it. Is it worth it from a perspective of $350 annual fee, get platinum status, or having to spend the nights to actually get platinum status? I would say yes, it's absolutely worth it. But for the sake of, yeah, it is probably a little bit on the higher end of an annual fee, give it a little ding and say that this is probably only gonna be a 3 out of 5 JFTs. So, in summary, this card, out of a total of 20 possible JFTs, this gets a 15.5 out of 20. It's solid, it's good, but for the right person. Though I would argue for anybody that's like, hey, I've got some travel coming up, I'm staying at a Marriott hotel sometime in the next 12 months, I'd say this card's probably worth it if you don't have any status and you only stay at Marriott maybe a handful of times, because you automatically qualify for platinum status, which makes you automatically eligible for suite upgrades. And again, if you're staying anywhere outside of the US, you're probably gonna be actually treated in a special manner and probably gonna clear into your upgrades, so it is absolutely worth it. As a daily use, daily driver card, that's not where it's at. I wouldn't really put spend on this card. Like, yes, you can earn a ton of Marriott points, but you can also earn points elsewhere and just transfer them to the program, and you can earn them at honestly the same rate as long as it's not spent at a particular Marriott. So that is my final verdict, 15.5 out of 20 JFTs. For the majority of folks out there, I would say get this card to lock in platinum status so you're eligible for suite upgrades, but I wouldn't hang on to this card as a daily use card. It serves that one fit and focus. And if you're interested, guys, like I said, feel free to check out the card link down below. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And I'd love to know, what's your favorite hotel program or your favorite airline card? Cool. Well, appreciate you all tuning in, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.